Grand Theft Auto 6 is the biggest game in history, and Rockstar has already shown us far more than you realize. Over the next 40 minutes, we are breaking down absolutely everything we know so far. The gangs ruling the streets, the enormous map of Leonida, every car, bike, and boat you'll drive, and the characters at the very heart of it all, Lucia and Jason. This is the complete GTA 6 breakdown, everything in one place. So get comfortable, because we've got a lot to cover, and trust me, it only gets crazier the deeper we go. Let's start with the gangs, because in GTA 6 they're the streets. Think about it. In San Andreas, we had the Grove Street families, the Ballas, the Vagos. In the original Vice City, we had the Cubans, the Haitians, and the Forelli crime family. In GTA 4, the mafias ran everything. In GTA 5, we had the families and the Lost MC. Gangs aren't a side detail in this series. They're the streets. They're the story. So today, we're going through every single gang and criminal group we have spotted in GTA 6 so far. From the bikers of Ambrosia to the Haitian crews of Vice City, to a militia hiding out in the swamps. Everything you're about to see is pulled straight from Trailer 1, Trailer 2, and the official screenshots Rockstar has released. So stick around to the end, because the last one completely changes how the map is going to work. Let's get into it. Let's start with what leaked all the way back in 2022. Even before the trailers, we already knew a few names. There was talk of a Haitian gang, a group called the Guardia Brothers, and something that nobody paid much attention to at the time, a far-right militia. Hold that last one in your head, because it comes back in a big way later. Now, let's move to the gang we know the most about, the Final Chapter Motorcycle Club. We saw them briefly in Trailer 2, and then again in the screenshots, rolling through the streets of a town called Ambrosia. And the details here are incredible. From the screenshots, we know this club was founded in 1982. Look closely, and you can see the riders are all different sizes and builds. The guy on the right is absolutely massive, while the riders on the left are much smaller. Their jackets follow one style, but every one is slightly different. But here is the detail everyone missed. In one screenshot, a man wearing a Liberty City Cycles cap has a single word stitched onto his jacket, Enforcer. That is not decoration. That is rank. It tells us the final chapter will have a full hierarchy, an internal structure, ranks you might climb or take down. Just like a real motorcycle club. And their home turf, without a doubt, is Ambrosia. Next, we move into Haitian territory and a gang called Sun for Sun. We actually caught glimpses of them in both trailers. In Trailer 1, a character wearing a specific chain seemed to hint at them. Then in Trailer 2, an actual gang emblem appeared on a wall, reading Sun for Sun, while Jason drove past people being detained by police. Look at the murals as he rides through. This entire area is soaked in Haitian culture, and it might be a direct descendant of the Haitian gang from the original Vice City. And it gets more specific. There's a neighborhood tied to them called Pearl. In one shot, you can see a tattoo that says Pearl. In another, the columns of the building each carry a single letter, spelling it out P-E-A-R-L. That is not a coincidence. That is Rockstar telling us exactly where this crew lives. Bikes, ATVs, art on every wall. This is their block. And connected to all of this, back in Trailer 1, we saw what fans nicknamed the Dirt Bike Dirtbags. A whole crew of riders tearing through the streets, popping wheelies, filming everything on their phones. In that same scene, there was a mural that read R.I.P. Rudy, a memorial for a fallen member. That one small detail tells you these gangs have history. They have losses, loyalty, people they've buried. Rockstar isn't just drawing logos on walls. They're writing backstories most players will never even notice. Now let's head somewhere darker. Port Gellhorn. This place used to be a thriving vacation spot. Now it's cheap motels, shut down attractions, and empty strip malls. And it is drowning in drugs. In the screenshots, you can see a guy holding a bat, covered in bullet scars, weed growing right there in the background. Another man has a gun tucked behind his back. There's a woman selling blue pills to someone in a car. There may not be a named gang here yet, but make no mistake, somebody is running these streets, and it is not the police. And then there's the one that surprised everyone. Out in the grassroots and grass rivers area, deep in the swamp, there are screenshots of an organized group of people. Remember that far-right militia from the 2022 leaks? This could be them. These are not tourists. They are not random gator hunters. In one short, we see them tearing across the water on an airboat. In another, people are fleeing the police in a truck with a trunk full of alligator carcasses. Something is very wrong out there, and it looks like a full faction we'll have to deal with, because we are barely scratching the surface. Names from the leaks that could still appear include the Colombian cartel and Los Cabrons, an old Vice City crew. And with Miami and Florida gang culture as the direct inspiration, expect smaller street gangs controlling individual neighborhoods across Vice City and the whole state of Leonida. There might even be a prison gang. Remember, Lucia starts the game behind bars, and in the screenshots of her cell, you can see other inmates in the background who almost certainly belong to a crew of their own. There's also a strong chance that gangs from the classic Vice City era make a comeback. The Forelli crime family, the Diaz operation, the bikers once led by Mitch Baker, and the ghost of Tommy Vercetti. No, Tommy himself won't show up, but his legacy could still be ruling parts of the city. Imagine his old empire back in power, and you have to decide whether to take it down or join it. Now here is what ties all of this together: Lucia and Jason themselves. Remember, Lucia comes straight out of prison, and Jason has a military background and a history working for the wrong people. These two aren't cops cleaning up the streets. They are criminals moving through this world from the inside. That means the gangs we've talked about aren't just enemies to shoot. They are potential employers, potential partners, potential betrayals waiting to happen. Every single crew we've covered could become a chapter in their story, a job that goes right, or a deal that goes horribly wrong. And think about the people we've already glimpsed around them. The influencers filming everything on their phones. The drug dealers and the keys. Cal, Jason's paranoid, conspiracy-obsessed friend. This world is packed with characters who all seem tied to some group, some hustle, some corner of the criminal underground. Rockstar has built a state where nobody is truly independent. Everybody answers to somebody, and figuring out who answers to who might be half the fun of playing this game. And that brings us to the biggest takeaway, the thing that changes the whole map. Look at Leonida Keys. We know you work for a man named Brian Heather, moving drugs. But here's the thing. There is no way Brian is the only player down there. There will be a rival crew, maybe a serious gang, set up as his enemies. And that pattern repeats everywhere. Because if there is one gang, there has to be another gang to fight them. And think about what that means for how you actually play. If every region has its own crew, then GTA 6 could finally bring back real gang mechanics. Territory you can take, allies you can recruit, rivals who remember what you did to them. Imagine doing jobs for the final chapter one week, then getting hunted by them the next because you crossed the wrong line. In the older games, gangs were mostly set dressing. In GTA 6, with a living world that reacts to everything, they could become the beating heart of the entire story. And that is before we even talk about GTA Online, where these same factions could become the crews and turf that players fight over for years. That is what makes this different from every GTA before it. This isn't a handful of gangs in a couple of neighborhoods. This is turf war across an entire state. Bikers in Ambrosia, Haitians in Pearl, drug crews in Port Gellhorn, a militia in the swamps, legacy families clawing back power in Vice City. And right in the center of all of it, caught between every single one of these factions, are Lucia and Jason. And think about the law side of this, because gangs only matter if there's someone fighting them. In GTA 6, the police look smarter and more aggressive than ever. We've seen SWAT-style raids, helicopters, and mass arrests in the trailers. So you're not just navigating between rival gangs. You're navigating between the gangs and a police force that's cracking down on all of them. That three-way tension, you, the crews, and the cops, is exactly what made the best GTA missions legendary, and GTA 6 looks built to push it further. There's also the question of how deep gang membership goes. That enforcer patch we talked about hints at ranks and roles. Imagine actually rising through a gang's hierarchy, earning trust, taking on bigger jobs, and eventually either running the crew or betraying it. If Rockstar lets us build real relationships with these factions, the replay value is enormous. You could play the same map as a loyal soldier one time and a backstabbing opportunist the next. And don't forget the setting itself feeds all of this. Florida gang culture, drug trafficking routes through the Keys, Cuban and Haitian communities, biker clubs in the small towns, militias in the swamps. Rockstar didn't just invent these groups out of nowhere. They pulled from the real, messy history of the region, which is exactly why Leonida feels so alive and so dangerous. And honestly, we have seen almost nothing. Rockstar is holding the real story back. Everything we just covered came from 2 trailers and a handful of screenshots. When trailer 3 drops, and it should be soon, this list is going to explode. Now, let's map out the world itself, the state of Leonida. Let's start with the big picture. GTA 6 is not set in a single city. It's set in an entire state called Leonida, which is Rockstar's version of Florida. That is a massive shift. In GTA 5, we had Los Santos and a bit of countryside. Here, we get a full state with multiple cities, small towns, beaches, swamps, farmland, and highways connecting all of it. Leonida is the modern-day evolution of the Vice City we knew back in 2002, but blown up to a scale we've never seen. At the center of it all is Vice City itself. This is the crown jewel, a neon-soaked, Miami-inspired metropolis with towering skyscrapers, Art Deco hotels, packed beaches, and nightlife that never sleeps. From the trailers, we've seen the beachfront packed with hundreds of people, the strip glowing with signs, and traffic flooding the streets. This is a living, breathing city, and it looks denser and more detailed than anything in GTA 5. And Vice City itself isn't just one flat area. From what we've seen, it's made up of distinct districts, each with its own identity. There's the glamorous beachfront strip, all hotels and nightlife and tourists. There's a downtown core with glass skyscrapers and business towers. There are the rougher neighborhoods, packed with murals, street art, and local culture, clearly inspired by the Cuban and Haitian communities of real Miami. And there are the quiet residential areas and the industrial docks. Driving from one district to another, you can feel the whole personality of the city change block by block. That's the kind of detail that makes a city feel real instead of just big. But Vice City is only one piece. Let's go region by region, because each corner of this map has its own personality. First, there's Leonida Keys. This is Rockstar's take on the Florida Keys, a chain of tropical islands connected by long bridges over turquoise water. This is where you work for a man named Brian Heather, deep in the drug trade. Expect boats, jet skis, hidden coves, and a laid-back island vibe hiding some very dark business underneath. Then we have Port Gellhorn. This place is the opposite of the glamour of Vice City. It used to be a thriving vacation town, but now it's all cheap motels, abandoned attractions, and empty strip malls. It's run down, gritty, and from the screenshots, it's clearly a hot spot for drugs and crime. This is the kind of place where the real underworld lives. Next up, Ambrosia. This is a smaller town, and it's the home turf of the Final Chapter Motorcycle Club. Picture a quiet, sun-bleached place where the biker gang rules the streets. It gives the map that small-town America feel, a change of pace from the big city. And then there's the wild side of Leonida, the swamps. The grass rivers and grassroots areas are exactly what you'd expect from inland Florida. Endless wetlands, tall grass, airboats gliding across the water, and yes, alligators everywhere. We've seen people hunting gators, fleeing the cops through the marshes, and what looks like a militia group operating out here. This is the untamed heart of the map, and it feels dangerous in a completely different way from the city. Let's talk about scale because this is where it gets crazy. Based on everything Rockstar has shown and the way the trailers move from dense city to open swamp to island chains, Leonida is expected to be the biggest map in GTA history. And it's not just about square miles. It's about density. Rockstar has said this is their most detailed world ever, and you can see it. Crowds react to you. Weather rolls in off the ocean. Storefronts, alleyways, and back roads are all filled with detail. A big empty map is easy. A big map where every street feels alive is a different level entirely. And here's something people often overlook: verticality and interiors. In past GTA games, most buildings were just walls you couldn't enter. But GTA 6 is showing off interiors everywhere. Bars, strip clubs, stores, homes. If Rockstar lets us freely explore even a fraction of these buildings, the effective size of this world doubles. A map isn't just how far you could drive. It's how much you can actually step into. Let's also talk about the water, because Florida is defined by it. We've seen beaches, the ocean, the keys, the swamps, and canals cutting through the city. Water traversal is going to be huge here. Boats, jet skis, airboats. Expect a big chunk of the map to only be reachable by water, with hidden islands and secret spots out in the ocean, just waiting to be discovered. Now, here's a fun detail. The trailers are absolutely packed with real locations that mirror actual Florida landmarks. The beaches look like South Beach. The swamps look like the Everglades. The rundown towns look like the forgotten parts of the state that tourists never see. Rockstar clearly sent people to study Florida in obsessive detail, and it shows in every frame. Let's zoom in on some of the specific landmarks people have already spotted, because the detail is unreal. There's a massive Ferris wheel lighting up the Vice City coastline at night. There are marinas packed with yachts. There's a downtown financial district with real skyscrapers. Out in the swamp, there are rundown gas stations, trailer parks, and roadside attractions that look straight out of forgotten Florida. Every one of these places is a potential mission location, a hideout, or just somewhere to cause chaos. And here's something that makes Leonida special: the contrast. In a matter of minutes, you can drive from a glittering beachfront full of tourists and supercars into a decaying town where the economy collapsed years ago, and then into a swamp where the law barely reaches. That range of environments, wealth next to poverty, glamour next to decay, is exactly what real Florida looks like, and it gives the map an emotional texture that most open worlds completely miss. There's also the vertical dimension we shouldn't ignore. Vice City has high-rise buildings, rooftops, and what looks like accessible interiors. If Rockstar lets us climb, explore, and fight our way through these spaces, the city becomes a playground in 3 dimensions, not just a flat grid of streets. Combine that with the ocean, the underwater areas, and the aircraft, and you're looking at a world you explore up, down, and across. So what does all of this mean for how we'll play? A map this varied changes everything. One mission, you could be doing a high-speed chase through downtown Vice City. The next, you're on an airboat in the swamp, escaping the cops. The next, you're taking a boat out to the Keys for a deal. The variety of environments means the variety of gameplay will be enormous. Rockstar didn't build one playground. They built 5 or 6, all stitched into one seamless state. And of course, we can't forget GTA Online. This map is going to be the foundation for years, maybe a decade, of online content. Every island, every swamp, every downtown block is a future setting for heists, races, and businesses. When you look at the size of Leonida, you're not just looking at the single-player map. You're looking at the world millions of people will live in for the next 10 years. Let's also talk about secrets, because a Rockstar map is never just what's on the surface. Every GTA has been packed with hidden Easter eggs, strange encounters, and mysteries that players spend years hunting down. Think of the Mount Gilead mystery in GTA 5 that obsessed the community for a decade. A state the size of Leonida, with swamps, deep ocean, abandoned towns, and dense city, is the perfect playground for that kind of secret. There will be hidden locations you stumble on by accident, creepy encounters out in the wetlands, and collectibles scattered across every region. Half the fun of a new GTA map is not the missions. It's what you find when you just wander off the path. And a map this big raises a real question: how do you get around it? In GTA 5, we had taxis and a basic fast travel system. With Leonida stretching across an entire state, expect a more developed system for crossing those distances, whether that's aircraft, boats, or some in-game transport. But knowing Rockstar, they'll always reward the players who choose to just drive, because the journey through this world is meant to be part of the experience, not something to skip. Now, here's the truth. Rockstar still hasn't shown us the full map. We've seen pieces. Vice City, the Keys, Port Gellhorn, Ambrosia, the swamps. But there are almost certainly entire regions, cities, and secrets that haven't been revealed yet. Dedicated fans are already piecing together a full map from every tiny background detail in the trailers, and it keeps getting bigger every time they look. Next, let's talk about the vehicles you'll be driving across that world. Let's start with the cars because that's the heart of it. From the two trailers, we've already spotted a huge range of vehicles. Sleek modern supercars, classic muscle cars, lifted pickup trucks, beat-up sedans, luxury convertibles cruising down the strip. The variety is massive, and it fits the setting perfectly. Florida is a place where a $200,000 sports car pulls up next to a rusted-out truck at the same gas station, and GTA 6 captures exactly that mix. But it's not just the number of cars. It's the detail on them. Look closely at the trailers, and you can see the environment reflecting off the paint. You can see the suspension actually flexing over bumps. Water beads and runs off the body when it's wet. The interiors are fully modeled, with working dashboards and detail down to the stitching on the seats. These aren't the flat, lifeless cars of older games. Every vehicle looks like it was built with obsessive care. And let's talk about the sheer range of quality for a second. In Florida, wealth and poverty live side by side, and the cars reflect that perfectly. On one street, you'll see a spotless luxury supercar with chrome rims cruising past palm trees. On the next, a rusted, dented pickup held together with duct tape, blasting music. That contrast isn't an accident. Rockstar uses the vehicles to tell you exactly what kind of neighborhood you're in, from the millionaire beachfront to the rundown backroads of Port Gellhorn. The car someone drives is part of the story of the world. Now let's talk about the muscle cars and classics, because Vice City has always had a thing for them. We've seen gorgeous vintage convertibles rolling through the neon streets, the kind of car that just screams 80s Miami, even in a modern setting. Rockstar loves blending old and new, and the classic car scene in GTA 6 looks like it's going to be a huge part of the vibe. Then we have the trucks and off-road vehicles. Remember, a big part of this map is swamp, farmland, and dirt roads. So we've seen lifted pickups, ATVs, quad bikes, and dirt bikes tearing through the mud and the backwoods. The dirt bike dirtbags, a crew we spotted in the first trailer, are all about this. Off-road traversal is clearly going to matter in a state this wild. Motorcycles are back, and they look incredible. We've seen sport bikes weaving through traffic and, more importantly, the choppers of the Final Chapter Motorcycle Club rolling through Ambrosia in a pack. Riding with a gang of bikers through the streets is going to be an entire experience on its own. And the animation on these bikes, the way the riders lean and shift, looks miles ahead of GTA 5. But here's where GTA 6 really separates itself from every game before it: the water. Florida is surrounded by it, so boats aren't a side feature here. They're essential. We've seen speedboats cutting across the bay, jet skis flying over the waves at the beach, and airboats gliding through the swamp. Whole sections of this map are only reachable by water. That means your garage isn't just full of cars. It's a fleet. Cars for the city, trucks for the back roads, boats for the Keys, airboats for the swamp. And let's not forget the skies. GTA has always had aircraft, and while Rockstar has been quieter about this, we've seen helicopters flying over the city and the beaches in the trailers. Given the size of Leonida, planes and helicopters are almost certainly going to be a major way to cross the map fast and to pull off those classic dramatic getaways. Now let's talk customization, because this is where the community goes wild. In GTA 5, and especially GTA Online, modifying your car was a huge part of the game. Given the level of detail we're seeing, GTA 6 is going to take this to another level. Imagine dropping the suspension on a classic, throwing on a custom paint job, adding neon underglow, and cruising through Vice City at night. If the customization matches the visual fidelity, people are going to spend hours just building their dream cars. Here's another detail worth pointing out: how the vehicles feel to drive. Rockstar completely reworked the driving in GTA 5 compared to GTA 4. It looks like they're pushing it even further here. The way cars in the trailer take corners, kick up dust, and react to the road suggests a more grounded, weighty driving model. It should feel less like an arcade and more like you're actually piloting a heavy machine through a living world. Let's talk about the aircraft in a bit more detail, because in a state this size, controlling the skies is going to be huge. We've caught helicopters in the trailers, and given Rockstar's history, expect everything from small prop planes to seaplanes that can land on the water around the Keys. In a map with this much ocean and swamp, a seaplane or a chopper isn't just fun, it's the fastest way to reach the places roads can't. And picture the classic GTA moment. Pulling off a heist and escaping by helicopter as the city lights blur beneath you. Now let's go deeper on customization, because this is where GTA Online made its fortune. In GTA 6, imagine walking into a garage and rebuilding a classic muscle car from the ground up. New engine, new paint, lowered suspension, chrome rims, neon underglow, custom plates. With the visual fidelity we're seeing, every modification is going to look stunning under the Vice City lights. And it won't just be cars. Expect to customize your bikes, your boats, maybe even your jet skis. Your vehicles become an extension of your character. And let's not overlook the little touches that sell the realism. Convertible tops that go up and down. Working headlights and indicators. Dashboards that actually function. Dirt and damage that builds up as you drive. Tires that kick up sand on the beach and mud in the swamp. These are the details that most games skip, and they're exactly the details Rockstar obsesses over. It's the reason their vehicles feel less like game objects and more like real machines. And now, the detail I promised, the one that changes how the whole world feels. In GTA 6, the traffic itself is alive in a way it never was before. NPCs don't just drive in straight lines. They react. They pull over, they film crashes on their phones, they get out of their cars, they behave like real drivers on a real Florida highway. So the vehicles aren't just tools for you. They fill the world with life. Every car on the road has a person in it who reacts to the chaos you cause. That's what makes Leonida feel real. So what does this all mean for gameplay? A world this size, with this many types of vehicles, means traversal itself becomes fun. Getting from a mission in the city to a deal in the Keys isn't loading screen filler. It's a journey. You choose the car, you choose the route, and the drive is part of the experience. Rockstar has always understood that half the joy of GTA is just cruising, and GTA 6 looks built from the ground up to make that better than ever. And let's give the boats their own moment, because in a state built around water, they might be more important here than in any GTA before. Think about it. The Keys, the ocean, the canals cutting through Vice City, the endless swamp. Speedboats for outrunning the Coast Guard, fishing boats for laying low, jet skis for tearing across the waves at the beach, and airboats for gliding over the marsh where nothing else can go. Whole missions, deals, and escapes are going to happen on the water. Your boat won't be a novelty you use once. It could be one of the most valuable vehicles you own. And of course, all of this feeds straight into GTA Online. The vehicle roster is going to be the backbone of races, car meets, heists, and businesses for years. Every car we've seen, and the hundreds we haven't, will become part of the online economy that keeps this game alive for the next decade. Let's also talk about damage and physics, because this is a Rockstar signature. In GTA 5, cars deformed, panels crumpled, and crashes felt weighty. In GTA 6, with this level of visual detail, the damage modeling should be stunning. Imagine sideswiping a wall and watching the paint scrape, the metal bend, and the bumper hang loose. Combine that with a reworked driving feel, and every chase, every crash, every near miss becomes its own little action movie. The way a car reacts to damage is a huge part of what makes GTA chases feel so good, and GTA 6 looks set to push that further than ever. And here's a thought on the community side. Remember, car meets became one of the biggest things in GTA Online. Players would gather, show off their builds, and cruise together. With a map like Leonida, full of scenic coastal roads, neon-lit strips, and open highways, the car culture around this game is going to be enormous. Rockstar has basically built the perfect stage for it, whether you're into street racing, off-roading, or just cruising the beach at sunset with your crew. Now, the honest truth. Rockstar has only shown us a small slice of the full vehicle lineup. Based on past games, GTA 6 will likely launch with hundreds of vehicles and add many more over time. What we've seen in the trailers is just the tip of the iceberg. Every new screenshot reveals another car, another bike, another boat hiding in the background. And finally, the people. The characters at the heart of GTA 6. Let's start with the woman the entire game revolves around, Lucia Jason. For the first time in the main GTA series, our lead protagonist is a woman. And Lucia is not some polished action hero. When we meet her, she's in prison, wearing an orange jumpsuit, sitting across from a parole officer. That single image tells you everything. This is someone who has already lived a hard life, made hard choices, and paid for them. Rockstar has described her as tough, sharp, and fiercely loyal, someone who fights for the people she loves and does whatever it takes to survive. From what we can piece together, Lucia comes from a working-class Hispanic background, the kind of person the system chewed up and spat out. She's fresh out of prison at the start of the game, looking for a fresh start, but as always in GTA, the past has a way of pulling you back in. And the thing pulling her back in has a name, Jason. Jason Duval is our second protagonist, and the other half of this Bonnie and Clyde story. If Lucia is the fire, Jason is the calm. He's described as someone who's been around the criminal world his whole life, always looking for the easy way out, the next quick score. He seems to have a military background, and he's fallen in with the wrong people down in the Keys, running drugs and getting deeper into trouble than he ever planned. He's laid back, he's charming, but he's clearly a man carrying a lot of weight. Now here's what makes this special. In GTA 5, we switch between three separate men who are basically business partners. In GTA 6, we're switching between two people who are in love. That changes everything about how the story feels. This isn't just a crime saga. It's a relationship tested by violence, money, betrayal, and desperation. Rockstar literally compared them to Bonnie and Clyde, the most famous criminal couple in history, a duo whose love story ended in a hail of bullets. That comparison is not an accident, and it should tell you exactly how high the stakes are going to be. And the way the two protagonists work together is going to be a gameplay revolution. Imagine planning a job where Lucia goes in one way and Jason another. Imagine the tension of the story when they disagree, when one of them wants out and the other wants more. Their bond, and how it holds up or falls apart, could be the emotional core that carries this entire game. Because Lucia and Jason don't exist in a vacuum. The trailers have already introduced us to a whole cast of supporting characters. The first one everyone latched onto is Cal. Cal appears to be one of Jason's closest friends, and he's a full-blown conspiracy theorist. He's the paranoid guy talking about the government, the one who probably drags Jason into schemes that spiral out of control. Every GTA needs that unpredictable friend, and Cal looks like he's going to be a fan favorite and a source of a lot of chaos. He's the kind of character who turns a simple errand into a disaster. And honestly, those are always the missions people remember most. If Rockstar plays him right, Cal could end up being one of the most quoted characters in the whole game. Then there's Brian Heather. Brian is a man out in the Leonida Keys, and he's the one who seems to pull Jason into the drug trade. He's older, he's got that weathered, dangerous look, and he's clearly a boss figure, the kind of man you don't want to owe money to. A lot of the early story likely revolves around working for Brian, and if GTA history is any guide, eventually turning against him. There's even a woman who appears alongside him, possibly his wife or partner, hinting at a whole family dynamic in the Keys that Jason gets tangled up in. And that's the pattern to watch. In every GTA, you start at the bottom, working for someone more powerful, and slowly climb until you're the one calling the shots, or until everything comes crashing down. So while Brian looks like the boss now, don't be surprised if he becomes a target later. The people who give you your first jobs in GTA rarely make it to the end credits on good terms with you. Let's also think about the antagonist, because a story this size needs real villains. We haven't been formally introduced to the main enemy yet, but the world is full of candidates. Rival drug operations in the Keys. The gangs fighting for territory across Leonida. Corrupt cops. Bigger cartels operating in the shadows. Whoever the true antagonist turns out to be, they're going to be standing between Lucia and Jason and whatever version of freedom they're chasing. And knowing Rockstar, the line between hero and villain is going to be blurry the entire way through. Beyond the named characters, the world is absolutely packed with personalities. The influencers filming everything on their phones. The eccentric rich people on the beaches. The gang members ruling the streets, from the bikers of the final chapter to the Haitian crews of Vice City. Rockstar has built a world where every corner has a face, a hustle, and a story. It feels less like a video game cast and more like an entire society. Now let's talk about the tone of these characters, because this is where Rockstar is doing something interesting. GTA has always balanced two things: sharp satire, making fun of modern America, and genuine emotional drama. From what we've seen, GTA 6 leans hard into both. The world is a hilarious, exaggerated version of Florida internet culture and excess. But at the center of it, Lucia and Jason's story looks genuinely serious and grounded. That contrast, a ridiculous world around a real, human relationship, is exactly what made past GTA stories unforgettable. And here's the darker angle I promised. Think about the setup. Lucia starts in prison. Jason is tangled up in the drug world with dangerous people. They come together as a couple, but their entire relationship is built on crime, money, and survival. In stories like this, love and loyalty always get tested to the breaking point. Will they betray each other? Will one of them try to leave? Will the pressure of the criminal world tear them apart? Rockstar has kept the actual plot almost completely secret, but the pieces they've shown us suggest a story that could end in tragedy just as easily as triumph. And that uncertainty is what's going to make players desperate to see how it plays out. Let's go back to Lucia for a second, because there's more to her than just being the first female lead. Everything we've seen paints her as the driving force of this story. She's the one with something to prove, the one who refuses to go back to the life she came from. Jason might be the one who knows the criminal world, but Lucia looks like the one with the ambition, the anger, and the will to actually change their situation, no matter the cost. If Bonnie and Clyde is the blueprint, Lucia is very much the Bonnie who pushes the whole thing forward. And a lead character driven by that kind of hunger is exactly what makes a story impossible to look away from. And think about how these characters connect to the gameplay itself. Every person we meet is a potential mission giver, a potential betrayal, a potential heist partner. The friends you make, the bosses you serve, the rivals you cross, all of them shape the path through the game. In a world as alive as Leonida, your relationships aren't just cutscenes. They're the web that the entire experience hangs on. And with two playable leads, you get to see that web from two different points of view. We should also talk about what makes these characters feel so real: the technology. Using the same performance and animation tech that powered Red Dead Redemption 2, GTA 6's characters emote, react, and move with a realism no game has ever matched. The subtle expressions on Lucia's face, the way Jason carries himself, these tiny details make you believe they're real people. That's what elevates a story from a series of missions into something you actually care about. It's also worth remembering how secretive Rockstar has been about all of this. They've shown us faces, but almost no dialogue, no full backstories, and no real plot. Everything we've pieced together comes from body language, clothing, a few lines, and the setting. That's actually a huge part of the excitement. The community has spent months analyzing every frame, trying to figure out who these people really are and how they connect. And every theory, every detail, just makes the wait harder. When we finally get to sit down with Lucia and Jason and actually hear their story, it's going to hit even harder because of how long Rockstar made us wonder. And of course, this cast is just the beginning. Rockstar has only shown us a fraction of the characters that will fill this game. There will be rivals, bosses, love interests, betrayers, and comic relief chaos agents that we haven't even glimpsed yet. Every trailer and every screenshot reveals another face, another name, another thread in the story. And that is everything we know about GTA 6 so far. The gangs and their turf wars. The massive world of Leonida, from neon Vice City to the swamps. The huge lineup of vehicles, and Lucia and Jason, the Bonnie and Clyde couple at the center of it all. And the wildest part? This is only what Rockstar chose to show us. The real story is still locked away. When Trailer 3 drops, we'll be right here to break down every second of it. If you made it all the way to the end of this one, you are a true GTA fan. So drop a comment, smash that like, subscribe to the vault, and I'll see you in the next one.